I put out a survey recently asking my clients, what is your biggest challenge in your dating and relationships? And many of them said, my biggest challenge is creating a healthy relationship with a good guy. And I thought that was really interesting because we so often think about attraction and getting guys to commit, but is it the right guy? Are we really getting good, relationship-minded, healthy men to commit to us, attracted to us? So I wanted to do a video on that today, on what are some behaviors that you can do to make sure good men, solid, relationship-minded guys are there, feeling attracted to you, finding you beautiful, and wanting to commit to you. And that's where this video came from. So this is 5 behaviors that good men find beautiful in a woman. Before we do the behaviors, very quickly, don't forget you can now grab a copy of my book. It is amazing. Lots of great reviews on Amazon. Thank you if you've left those. I so appreciate that. You can grab a copy from the description below. And there's also free downloads in the description, including my first chapter of that book and the 12 texts to make him yours. So check that out as well. The first behavior that good men find absolutely beautiful in a woman is responsiveness. And particularly emotional responsiveness is what I'm referring to here. That means sharing your emotions, showing us your emotions, and responding to us with your emotions. You know, one of the most beautiful things that I appreciate about my partner is that I can see her emotions. I can see the way I affect her. If I randomly buy her flowers, or if I open the door for her, or if I plan ahead a future date for us, I can see in the way she shows up emotionally what it makes her feel. She might touch me, she might share her appreciation with words. It's almost hard to actually describe exactly what she does, but what I do know is that she shows that emotion, she shows she is affected. And I can see it. That's a beautiful feeling for me as a guy and for us as men, because when we can see we've had an effect on you, especially a positive effect, it really makes us feel masculine, and it shows us the open-heartedness and emotional side of a woman that we don't have within ourselves. We don't often have that level of emotion. So getting to see it in you is a beautiful experience for us. It's a real human being with real emotions, and women just show that better than we men ever could. Believe it or not, this also applies in the negative. Even when there's an uncomfortable emotion, I appreciate that my partner shares that and can communicate it, because then I'm still seeing the real her. And whether or not I choose to change my actions so she feels a different emotion, or whether or not I was taking an authentic action so I don't want to change that and she just needs to be upset for a little bit, because sometimes that happens in relationships. At least I know how she feels, and at least she's been honest about that, so I can truly understand her and consider that in the future. Emotional responsiveness is such a beautiful trait, and the reason I put this one in is because if a man is not particularly interested in you, if a man just kind of wants to use you or just wants to sleep with you, he's probably not going to appreciate this anywhere near as much. I dare say it could even be a pain in the butt for him, and he's probably not going to find it beautiful. But a man that really wants to get to know you, that really cares about you, he's going to appreciate and find beautiful the range of your emotions. Not all of them may be comfortable for him, but they are honest, and he's going to appreciate that honesty and find it beautiful. The second behavior that good men find beautiful is positive expectations. When you assume the best of someone until you know that something else has happened, it really gives us the opportunity to say, okay, I'm not going to be held accountable for the behavior of her exes. I get to start afresh. She's confident enough in me that I get to show up fully and get that full impression. I get to make my own impression. I get to make my own way in the world instead of having it predetermined by someone else. This gives us a sense of power, as in we're in control of our own destiny in the way you see us. And it also projects on us that you expect highly of us, that you believe in us. Think about it, if you were my client and I have very low expectations of you. Let's say you're late to a session and I immediately assume it's because you don't respect my time and because you don't respect the coaching. Well, what if actually what's going on is you had an accident and you're very sick and I didn't realize? If I send you a message saying, hey, what are you doing? You're not respecting the sessions, you're not respecting the time. Well, that's going to look pretty bad if you were sick. Whereas if I send you a message saying, hey, is everything okay? I haven't seen you. Are you all right? I'm assuming the best in you. And even if you're not performing at your best, you're going to want to step up and step into that image that I have of you. One of the best ways of coaching is for a coach to see you at your potential beyond where even you can see it. The more someone sees that, the more you say, I want to live up to that. That's great. I want to be that person. So having positive expectations is a beautiful behavior that good men are going to notice. Not only because it shows that we're not going to be a function of your previous trauma or controlled by it, we get to set our own destiny, but also because it means that we get to say, okay, I get to step up to that image that she sees of me. That is a beautiful behavior that good men notice. Number 3, this is my favorite of the video. It's called heartfelt directness. And I think most of us have an issue with one side or the other. And it is a beautiful behavior that great, fantastic men are going to notice when you can be both heartfelt and direct at the same time. Now, what do I mean by heartfelt directness? Well, a lot of us can be super direct, but we end up being quite blunt about it. Others of us can be very heartfelt, but we get walked on, we're too understanding and our boundaries collapse. Heartfelt directness is where you are able to call something out, say something as you see it, in soft, firm, solid tones that get respect. So let's say, for example, you're talking about how many kids you want, and he says, you know, I'm just thinking maybe I don't want kids now, maybe I've changed my mind on that, and you do want kids, you do want a family in the future. Heartfelt directness would be, wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being so honest. You know, I'm going to be honest in return. For myself, I know that kids is really important to me, and I love you and I really connect with you. And at the same time, I'm realizing that this might be an incompatibility that we have because I know this is important to me, and if it's not to you, then yeah, I guess we're going to have to reassess what we're doing here. Do you see how I was being so direct about what I was saying while at the same time being heartfelt? I'm not having to telling you to change or telling you how you should be or telling you a bad person. I'm being heartfelt and I'm being direct. If you can manage this, you're being true to yourself, you're being direct, and you're also doing it with a sense of compassion that most of us can't do when we're being direct. Heartfelt directness, an absolutely beautiful behavior that amazing men are going to notice in you. Number 4 is consistency. When we're talking about good men, I chat about this with clients a lot. I say, that guy that you want in your future relationship vision all the way out there, he's solid, he's consistent, he's stable, he's exciting, he's attractive, all those things. How does that guy show up on a first date? How does he behave before a first date or just after a first date? You know, there are certain behaviors that we can reverse project from the future into the present, into the first early dating scenario. And it's amazing how often clients don't think like this. I want you to think, okay, that person out there, how would they behave right now? And the truth is, a solid guy, he's going to be consistent. He may not be available all the time because he's probably got a job, he's probably successful, he's probably doing things, but he is going to stand by his word, he is going to be trustworthy, he is going to be consistent, he's going to be solid, and he's going to look for those exact traits in a woman. Again, it doesn't mean you're going to be consistently available all of the time because you have a life and you have boundaries and you have a healthy priority list. But it does mean that you're going to be trustworthy in terms of consistency between your words and actions. You're not going to leave him on red indefinitely because you're not sure about things. You're going to be direct with the way you communicate. You're going to be consistent when you have time. You will message him. You will get back to him, make time for that. Consistency is such an attractive trait to a good man because a good, secure man is looking for a good, secure woman. That's what he's filtering for. So you got to act like a good, secure woman just as you want him to act with you. Consistency is one of those hallmarks, and it is essential in building trust in a healthy relationship. And number 5, we would be amiss to ignore the physical realm. So number 5 is taking care of yourself physically. There's an interesting graph that I use, and maybe Maddie, you can put this on the screen as I draw it. If we imagine the amount that looks matter over time, and we put 100% up here at the top, 100% looks matter, and 0% right here at the bottom. Well, with a good man, over time, first few dates, months, years, decades, as we extend the graph out, over time, what is the first thing men notice? Your looks. The very first thing when a man first sees you, it's almost 100% looks. And from there, it starts to decrease. And with a good man, it'll decrease over time. It'll decrease as more and more of your non-physical attraction takes over. And who knows, decades down the line, looks are probably 20% of what is left. You're still taking care of yourself, but when you're 80 years old, you're there for other reasons. On the other hand, not so good men, your narcissistic trauma types, your other sociopath types, anyone who's really not there for you, that's going to stay a lot higher throughout the course. He's going to be there a lot more for your looks than for other reasons. So looks still matter at the start, and taking care of yourself, of your body, of showing that you value the beautiful vessel that's got you through the world, that stuff does matter, especially at the start. So good men will notice the way you take care of yourself. So it's finding that balance as you move forward in your dating. And hopefully you're doing the same with a guy and you're realizing that, hey, as I get to know him better, looks become less important over time. And that's what makes our relationship so healthy and strong. Leave a thought in the comments below. What's a beautiful behavior that you notice in a man? I would love to hear it. In a good man, what is a beautiful behavior that you notice in him? Pop it in the comments. Well, I'll talk to you soon.